What's up, beautiful people? I'm Erin and this is Erin On Demand, and today we are getting real and talking about a topic that has stirred up a little bit of controversy on the ticks of the talks, okay? I posted a TikTok, recently, and I shared that entrepreneurship is not hard. And I really shared my perspective on why I don't adapt that mindset. And it ruffles some feathers. You know, the girls love to tussle on the TikToks. So I wanted to just go into a little bit more depth and just share my thoughts here on YouTube, because I think that we are in a time where a lot of projecting is going on and people have a perception of something before they even experience it because of the narratives that we hear around us. We hear marriage is hard. We hear parenthood is hard. We hear entrepreneurship is hard. While all at the same time, we're hearing about manifestation. What you put out is what you get in return. Soft life, and how to live this soft, luxurious life that's just so amazing. And I'm here for it. And I'm not here to say that entrepreneurship is easy. But I think that when someone projects that things are hard, it causes people, who are listening to that to go into certain situations fearful, doubtful, with misunderstanding or lack of clarity on what's actually hard. So I'm going to share the TikTok with you. I'm going to play it on the screen, and then I want to share a little bit more detail about what I meant.
People will say entrepreneurship is so hard until they are blue in the face. And I'm not saying that it's just totally easy, but I don't think that it's that hard. And people tell me that about marriage too. Like people always be like, marriage is hard. Like, just projecting their experience onto me or whoever. I personally disagree with that. I think entrepreneurship is a lot of work, but I wouldn't necessarily classify it as hard. Most people just ain't used to working. What I will say is that it takes a lot of endurance, consistency, a lot of confidence, and it will cause you to be uncomfortable in certain situations. But hard, I don't like to use that word. I think it's all about perspective.
So the message wasn't me saying that entrepreneurship is not a lot of work. It was not me saying that there aren't hard times and difficult times and challenges when it comes to entrepreneurship. But I believe that hard is a mindset. And when you think that making money is hard, then it's going to be hard. If you think that eating healthy is super hard, then it's going to be hard. If you think making your bed up every day is hard, then it's going to be hard. But I feel like when we take on this mindset of things being hard, then when will it ever be easy? And I just don't like thinking like that. I feel like there are certain things, predominantly entrepreneurship, parenthood, and marriage, that are like the three biggest things that a lot of people say is hard. But what I feel is that we should get more into the root of what's actually the challenge for us. Because if consistency is a challenge for you, then that's going to be a challenge for you, not just in entrepreneurship. It's going to be a challenge for you in other areas of your life. But a lot of times we like to generalize and say that this whole concept of something is hard, instead of understanding what about it is causing us to be challenged. That's more of what I want to get more into, because when you say something is hard, you're also not telling yourself anything. You're also not telling yourself where you can get better and build muscle to be stronger in that area. And you're not helping anyone else by running around saying entrepreneurship is so hard without actually explaining what about it is hard. So I like to use the example of, let's say you were going in to take a test, right? And somebody had just taken the test and walked out and was like, oh my God, that was the hardest test I ever had. Like, I think I might have failed. Like, good luck to you in there. That junk was hard. You're gonna go in, even if you studied, even if you feel prepared for it, or maybe you didn't, you're still gonna go in thinking the worst, expecting the worst, having doubt in your mind, wondering if you've done enough, wondering if being fearful that you might actually fail. Now, what if person B walks out and says, oh my gosh, that was pretty good. You'll be fine. Like, it wasn't super easy, but it's doable. You're probably gonna go in there with way more confident that you've prepared and feeling more comfortable about how you can execute. I am someone who truly believes that our mindset sets the precedence for how we execute on things. And if we constantly go into situations adapting this hard mindset that I feel like we've almost been conditioned to believe because it's just said so much, that if we continue to do that, then things are going to continuously be hard. Now, there were some comments on TikTok of people saying that they think I was coming from a privileged mindset, or like a privileged, I'm speaking out of privilege, or saying that I have a lot of support and that, that's why it doesn't seem hard to me. The hard part, I'm not saying that entrepreneurship doesn't bring forth a lot of challenges, but things that I truly enjoy investing time and effort and energy and being disciplined and dedicated to, I don't like to consider them hard, because it's not helping me. That mindset is not helping me grow in areas that I may need to be stronger in. So I was just thinking too, like, when we have so many books now that are sharing about manifesting, and I'm a woman of faith. Like, I believe in God, and I know that everything that is in my life is here for a reason. So I don't take my support for granted, but that doesn't mean that the red carpet was just rolled out for me because I have support. There are so many people who have supportive tribes around them who entrepreneurship could be hard for them in other ways. Or bring forth challenges in other ways. So you can't look at somebody's situation and say, well, this is why it wasn't hard for you. It's not that it wasn't difficult or didn't bring any challenges. It's just that my mindset has always been in a place of, I'm going to try to make this process as enjoyable, as simple, as easy as I possibly can for myself, so that it can bring longevity and enjoyment to me. And I will always be real with you guys and let you know, different difficult things that I've faced throughout my journey. But I will never generalize something, at least, moving forward. I may have said something in the past and, as we grow, our mindset shifts. But I would never tell you marriage is hard. I cannot, or entrepreneurship is hard. I can't tell y'all how many times before we got married, people have asked me and Cameron, or told me and Cameron, the first year of your marriage is going to be the hardest year. Or people have also said the first year of marriage is the honeymoon phase, but after that, get ready. And it's just dang, projecting their experiences onto us. And we have gone into our marriage saying that we are going to try to make this as easy as possible for ourselves. And one of the most common questions we get is what's the biggest struggle you guys have experienced since you've been married? Not what makes your marriage work? How does it seem so seamless? Or how do you guys, combine your lives in a way that works for the both of you? It's always usually what's the biggest struggle? What should I be on the lookout for? And I get it. It's not that I don't get it, but I do think that we're just naturally conditioned, and we hear so much about how things are hard that a lot of people don't actually break down the thing that is difficult, which if in a relationship, no matter if you're dating or you're married, if there is something in your character that brings forth challenge, where you are challenged in, it's going to bubble up in your marriage, it's going to bubble up in your entrepreneurship, it's going to bubble up in maybe your health and wellness, it's going to bubble up in your consistency. So it's not just the marriage, or it's not isolated to the entrepreneurship. And that's more of what my point was, is that hard is so relative. So I hope from this session, or this mind dump, that you embrace people's different perspectives, because for some people, entrepreneurship is easy. And to me, when people feel like, okay, like I can do this. This is doable. This is enjoyable. I love being dedicated and disciplined to this thing. That's why my word of the year is discipline. You know, I enjoy working toward this goal. Like, that's okay. You know, let it be easy for some people. You don't challenge a baker when they say, baking is easy. I love it. It's the best thing ever. And then someone who's not a baker will say, oh my God, baking is so hard. But it's really about like who you ask, because if baking is easy to the baker, it should be. It should be something that the baker loves to do, because that's what they do. And that's how I feel about entrepreneurship. That doesn't mean that the baker hasn't had some cakes that have failed or cakes that, you know, didn't taste the best. That doesn't mean that the baker didn't experience getting through and getting to the point that they are with their craft. The same goes for entrepreneurship. There are going to be things that are difficult, and there are going to be things that challenge you and test you, and it requires endurance, it requires patience, it requires commitment, it requires consistency. But what else in our life doesn't? You know, so do successful relationships, so does working at a job. And I personally felt like, yes, I loved my jobs, but that was hard for me. You know, that was more difficult for me. Having a dog is difficult, you know, like that is a challenge. So it's just, my point is, it's about the perspective that you have. And just be cognizant of the ideas and ideals and perceptions that you take in and adopt as your own before forming them for yourself. And as you begin to think for yourself and really understand why you are believing and thinking the things that you are, I think it becomes a lot easier to walk in your purpose and to really be who you are called to be. So I hope this wasn't all over the place. I love you guys so much. In the comments, let me know what has been the most fulfilling part of entrepreneurship for you. What has been the easiest part of entrepreneurship for you? Let's be encouraging in the comments. Let's share things that we can all build some momentum off of, so that we can go and make our businesses and our lives even more insane and even more amazing than it already is. All right, you guys, I love you. Bye for now.